welcome to Dashcam Diary of a Disabled. It is another cold morning. It is 30 degrees outside and the frost on the ground and the cold is visible. My windshield took a good 5 minutes to defrost this morning before I left the driveway to come to my chiropractor appointment, which is every Wednesday for an hour. I go to the chiropractor 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday and Friday are half-hour appointments. Wednesday is my fantastic hour-long appointment because I tend to be late for one, and sometimes we just don't get enough time during the half-hour appointments to do everything we need to do. I was really out this morning. I had 3 major vertebrae in my thoracic area, right around the chesticle area on my backside. So the thoracic, I had 3 vertebrae out, but when he adjusted my first rib, the vertebra right below it went in at the same time. It's almost a miracle. We kind of today was a new chapter in my chiropractic journey where things went in, but we had to do things a little differently in the order of operation of our adjustments. And it was a new chapter today. Today was an atypical appointment adjusting day. I've never had such weird, I don't know, but basically the difference between an EDSer and a regular person are huge, on top of me being so grounded. I am a person that can sense, and I already know my body so well that I kind of already know what I need to do for it. But at the same time, even though I already know, it doesn't mean that I can do it myself. I have to go to the chiropractor and have him do it. It's a very fine line between adjusting too much and not enough. There's a fine line, and it's different every day, and it's different every couple days when I go. I last about a day and a half of being back in place before things start sliding back out right now. And it's because I need to strengthen myself. I need to strengthen my muscles and everything that I can to support whatever I can to be in place so it doesn't move out so easily. It's a hard life to live. To tell you the truth, it's just really hard. This is what it's like to be in the day of life of somebody that's disabled, and kind of majorly disabled. Even though I don't look like it, it's invisible. People can't tell. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard to live this way. It's hard to how things degenerate in middle age, even more so at kind of an accelerated rate, and things get stuck out of place. And so if I have something that's slightly like this, it affects everything above and below it. Muscle wise, the attachments of muscles and nerves and blood supply to all my organs and muscles and bones and all of it. If there's a slight little shift in any of it, I feel it. And then everything above and below it and next to it shift, and then those things get stuck, and then things aren't moving very properly because there's one slight little shift in something. So if you have 2 bones that are shifted slightly over, like a joint with hypermobility EDS, even the blood vessels are hypermobile. Everything is extra mobile. Everything moves easier, but everything gets stuck easier too. So when you think about joints and movement and things moving like this, it takes a lot for that to happen with muscles and ligaments, nerves, bone, joints, everything's moving. And just think about that one little clog, that one little think about a heart attack, and how a little chunk of cholesterol or something or plaque gets stuck against the wall of the blood vessels, and then it breaks loose and travels. Well, that's kind of like with EDS, like one little clog congestion in one spot, it delays and messes everything up all around it that's surrounding it. And then it's just in spasm, and then it's angry. It's angry and it's spasming, and then it's pain. And then, but at the same time, it's tight. So when it's tight, it's keeping whatever it is in place, whether it's in place, out of place, or out of alignment or not. It's going to try and keep it in that spot. So then you have this like slight congestion with movement still trying to happen. And then you also have something trying to gain stability, which is the joint itself. And so the muscle spasm is keeping that joint or whatever it is that's slightly shifted, that congestion. It's just angry. It's just things are moving like it's supposed to, but then it's trying to keep it in place in the spot that's out of place. So all the ligaments and tendons are surrounding that, the muscle, as much as they're tight and spasming, it's also making it looser. So it's making a new spot for itself to try and be comfortable and not be painful. But it is painful because that muscle's like, I got to keep you in place. You're unstable. I got to keep you in place even if you're in the wrong spot. And so you've got this like congestion, movement, and pain. So I hope that helps describe a picture of what I'm talking about with this invisible illness. You cannot see this, but once you understand how things function, you can understand how things don't function at the same time as it's functioning. So it's really a catch-22. You have things that are trying to keep things tight. You have things that are loosening up at the same time that it's tight. And you got the muscle or the joint moving while it's tight and loosening up at the same time. So as much as it's tight, it's loosening up. But then when you throw in medication to try and stop that process of feeling that inflammation like steroids, so you're really just degenerating it more because you're still pushing through what would have been pain, so now it's no longer pain and you're pushing through, and so you're deteriorating all of that surrounding area and killing it because it's not getting the blood supply, it's not getting the oxygen it requires, and then it's just killing it. So just to understand that process, and then same with the pain medication. If I take pain medication to eliminate the pain, the action is still happening whether the pain is there or not. It's still happening, I just don't feel it as much, and I can function throughout the day, but it's to my own detriment that I'm functioning because I'm stretching it out further. And so the more I stretch that joint out and make it move where it's not supposed to be moving, you're just making more damage for yourself. So thinking about hypermobility and somebody with connective tissue issues, connective tissue is part of every organ and part of your body. And the biggest organ in your body is your skin. So I do have some skin issues because I have folliculitis type problems because my body doesn't detox things properly because of my immune system and my thyroid on overdrive because of Hashimoto's. So I'm just not detoxing things. But when I do detox, I end up with growths and cysts and things forming to try and make up for the empty lack of space that is somewhere. It's a big thing. It's complicated. So I just wanted to give everybody a heads up what it's like, man. Like, here's a good description of what it's like having something that is physically wrong with you, but you have to mentally accept what's physically wrong with you and work with it instead of against it. But at the same time, you can't ignore it either. If you ignore it, that just causes more distress physically and mentally if you don't deal with it. So the more I don't go to the chiropractor and the more I don't get adjusted, the more my body stays out of place, and the longer it stays out of place, the stretchier things go surrounding the thing that's stuck out of place. So I'm really just damaging myself every day. The more I function, the more I do things, I'm just degenerating my body more at an accelerated rate over the regular population because their stuff doesn't get stuck like this. Well, it does, but experience these symptoms on the daily. You would think that they would listen to the expert about their bodies. I know about my body, and I know more than anybody else does about my body because I experience it, I feel it. And I've gone throughout the many years of my life searching for answers about what's wrong. Well, now I know what's wrong. Now it's just getting people to listen to me about what's wrong. And like, what would make sense? Like, I feel like I make sense when I describe things. Like, this is logistically going on. Look, I feel this pain, and what I learned in pain management class is like thinking about it like I'm thinking about it myself. Like, it makes sense. Like, if you have something hypermobile that like flows freer than normal and is stretched beyond comparison on the daily because I push my limits, I don't realize that I'm pushing past the point that I shouldn't be going past because my body's just abnormal. So, but it's not abnormal to the point that it's not like a regular body. It is. It's just, it's got differences comparatively. I don't know. I just wanted to try and explain it a little bit. Like, this is part of what I live with every day. I haven't really fully talked about all my illnesses. I talk about my daily appointments and my daily goings-ons and stuff, and opinion about things, this and that, but really I just wanted to try and give some clarity about what it's like living with this kind of chronic illness that's physically and mentally draining daily, because I have to think about the things that I'm doing and how I'm moving my body. And if I stop thinking about where I'm moving my body for a single second, I injure myself because I'm not paying attention to like how I am doing my movement. But I have to think about movement way more frequently. Otherwise I end up hurt and then I end up in way more problematic situations than I'm already in. But I hope this really does help give some clarity about what my chronic illness is, because I haven't really fully described all of it. I have a hard time talking about it because I always think about it, but people don't want to hear it. They think it's excuses on why I'm not doing something or why I am doing something. And so I try not to give any excuses anymore about anything. It's a waste of my time a lot of the time, because people don't understand what they don't understand. And you don't understand a lot of the time until you go through it yourself. And if you don't go through it yourself because you don't have connective tissue issues, so why explain something that people aren't really going to fully grasp it until they really go through it themselves? And a lot of them won't go through it themselves until they get to the point where they're like 80 or 90 years old and they're so hypermobile because of the years of use and degeneration. That degeneration causes hypermobility. So, like, until people get to be like a really old age, they aren't really going to understand me because they aren't going to be going through it. But you aren't going to really understand it unless you go through it. I never understood this until I went through it, and I can try my best to describe it, but it's just not one of those things that you can really understand until you feel it. And a lot of people are trying not to feel it, and I'm trying not to feel it this way. I'm trying not to feel in pain. There goes some rib shifting. That one breath. But this is just life as a disabled, a day in the life of being disabled. This is a disabled life, and I'm happy to try and inspire people to keep on going, because despite me going through this, I still talk to